Yo, 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 good morning and welcome to another episode of Book Club with Caden Kelly, a podcast where I read books and I come and do a podcast and I talk about the books so that I can help you and help myself live better lives so we can improve our health, our wealth, our wisdom, and our peace. This podcast keeps me accountable. That was the whole main point. The intention behind it was to keep myself accountable to read these books. Talking about them helps me understand them. Trying to teach them helps me understand them, but it also allows you the information as well to improve your life. This podcast is live, baby. This podcast is live on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Monday mornings. Right now it's 9:28 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, December 5th. We're on our way to Christmas, baby. We are on our way to Christmas. And we're live on all those places. You can come join us live by, come share your thoughts, share your criticisms, your inspiration, whatever. By finding me on one of those places, you can go to my blog. I got links to all of my shit on my blog, cadenkellysblog.wordpress.com. Has links to the Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Has links to my Instagram. Has links to all my socials. I post in a blog weekly, talking about the same stuff, because man, I wrote last week a blog called "We Are Guided by the Color of Our Thoughts," and that's a quote from Marcus Aurelius, and it's that one that has stood out to me recently, and it means that whatever you spend your time thinking about and doing is what you become. The people you spend your time with, the activities you engage in, the hobbies that you have, that's what you become, man. That is what you become. We are guided by the color of our thoughts. So I wrote about that in a blog last week, and so I just do a whole bunch of stuff to try to improve my life and help you improve your life as well. So if you like this podcast and you want to go back on a refresher on some other podcasts, I do a shorter podcast called Here's the Point with Caden Kelly, available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And I do, this one is on those podcast sites as well. So if you don't catch this live, you can catch it there. And I assume that if you're not listening to this live, you're already doing that. So that's just a little redundant, but it's fine. Yes, that's it. I think that's everything. The blog, that's the most important. I'm trying to increase traffic to the blog. Whatever I got to do to increase traffic to the blog. That's where everything is. So cadenkellysblog.wordpress.com. I need to figure out how to get that underneath on the video. In fact, you know what? Because no one watches the video, it's on YouTube. I'm just going to delete it. I'm going to do it right now on the stream. Gone. Gonzo. Bye. Yeah, it's unnecessary, honestly, because I don't post the recording. The recording goes live to YouTube and Facebook and whatever. And then where else? The TikToks. That's it. The Instagram videos, the YouTube shorts, whatever your quick hits of dopamine come from, whatever website you go to. So I just took off the socials because they're going to be on my blog. Go to my blog, cadenkellysblog.wordpress.com. All right, what do we do? We're going to kill any more time, or we're going to jump straight into the book? Not much. Last week we went and played some pool with my friends for the second weekend in a row. That's a good ass time, man. I got one of my employees is sick, so I've been stepping in and working for him, helping out, making sure that everything runs smooth. It's tough having a business, man. It's tough being a business owner and managing people. And it is what it is. This is literally what I signed up for. And it's up to me to make sure it runs smoothly, and if I want to change anything, it's up to me to change. And because we take responsibility, we take accountability around here. We take ownership of our lives and our situations. And I'm happy. I like carpet cleaning is not a sexy gig. It doesn't get the babes, and it doesn't make you millions of dollars. But it's honest work. It ain't much, but it's honest work. And it's rewarding. It's rewarding to not just to clean carpet and upholstery, but some people need it desperately, and they haven't cleaned any of their shit in a long time, or it's gross. And you know what they say? Lots of bacteria and virus can collect in the carpet fibers. It's important to get it clean. This just became a carpet cleaning ad for all of you listening. Yeah, it's important to get your carpets clean. It's not fabulous, glamorous work, but it's honest work, and I enjoy going out. And I got an awesome team. I'm happy to step in wherever I can. So, yeah, I got to record. We're recording this earlier, made sure that we got to it on time early, so I can go out and do the carpet cleaning later on today. So let's talk about the book while we're here. Last week, I read a book called The Almanack of Naval Ravikant. 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 Naval Ravikant. No idea how to say it. The Almanack of Naval Ravikant, A Guide to Wealth and Happiness by Eric Jorgensen. I am on Twitter, and I'm I mostly just post my podcast on Twitter. I post the shorts on Twitter, but every now and then I'll scroll, and the few motivational self-help people that I do follow will quote Naval and tweet Naval all the time. And what's interesting is I have no idea who the guy is. He doesn't actually have his own Twitter, I don't think. I think his Twitter is or someone else is posting in his place. Naval Ravikant. Yeah, I don't think he has. I don't even think he has a Twitter. But all the stuff that he posts is awesome. It's inspirational, and this book is basically it's his almanac. It's a compilation of all of not all of his tweets, but tweets of his to compile his thoughts into one book, focusing on wealth and happiness, which is what we're talking about here on this podcast, about improving our health, our wealth, our wellness, our health, wealth, wisdom, and peace. So the introduction of the book is an introduction on Naval. And but instead of reading that, I didn't take any notes on on his life. I remember a little bit, but I'm going to share from the Wikipedia on Naval Ravikant. Ravikant. Ravikant sounds right. Naval is an Indian-American entrepreneur and investor. He is the co-founder, chairman, and former CEO of AngelList. He has invested early stage in over 200 companies, including Uber, Foursquare, Twitter, Wish.com, Poshmark, Postmates, Thumbtack, Notion, SnapLogic, OpenDoor, Clubhouse, Stack Overflow, Bolt, OpenDNS, Yammer, and Clearview AI, with over 70 total exits and more than 10 unicorn companies. Unicorn companies? I don't know what that means. I just clicked on it. On Wikipedia, it says, unicorn in business. A unicorn is a privately held startup company valued at over $1 billion. A unicorn is a privately held startup company, a startup valued over $1 billion. The term was first published in 2013, coined by venture capitalist Aileen Lee, choosing the mythical animal to represent the statistical rarity of such successful ventures. Yeah. Okay. So it's a unicorn. Yeah. Privately held startup company valued at over $1 billion. And how many is he a part of? 10? Over 70 total exits and more than 10 unicorn companies. Jesus Christ. Oh, mashed potatoes. Is it working now? Okay, the chat was broken for a second. Has it been recording this whole time? Because I apologize if that's on my end. My internet says it's running. Good morning, mashed potatoes. Welcome. We're reading a book called... We're talking about The Almanack of Naval Ravikant. So he's a super successful angel investor. He's just invested in a ton of startups that turned out to be Uber and Twitter and Snapchat and that shit. So, and Anyway, continuing. Ravikant is a fellow of the Edmund Hillary Fellowship. Don't know what that is. As a podcaster, he shares advice on pursuing health, wealth, and happiness. Ha! There we go. I'm telling you, I'm not original. Nothing that I do or say is original. And I don't think that it's original anywhere. Everyone's talking about it. Everybody's talking about health, wealth, and happiness and peace and wisdom. Everyone's doing it. So we're not original, but we're doing it. And I'm just one of the fucking people recording and talking about it and doing it. So that's Naval. Super successful, super wealthy. And yeah, this book was not written by him. It was written by Eric Jorgensen. Eric Jorgensen is the one that compiled the tweets and made the... It's like a compilation of of the tweets plus interviews that Naval has been a part of. So it's like written in Naval's words, but it's not Naval. It's all compiled by Eric. So let me tell you about Eric Jorgensen on the back. There's his little bio. Eric Jorgensen is a product strategist and writer. In 2011, he joined the founding team of Zarly. Z-A-A-R-L-Y. A company dedicated to helping homeowners find accountable service providers they can trust. His business blog, Evergreen, educates and entertains more than 1 million readers. Nice work, Eric. He's a handsome young man. It's always blurry, but there's Eric Jorgensen. So, and there was a foreword by Tim Ferriss, who is the author of 4 Hour Work Week. Remember, we did that one a long time ago. And he's buddy with Ryan Holiday, so we like him. So, yeah, let's get into it. Got a lot of notes. A lot of notes on wealth and happiness. That's what this book is about. Health, wealth, and happiness. Just wealth and happiness. But he talks about health, and he talks about peace. He talks about all of that. It's all kind of included. So, let's jump into it. The Almanack of Naval Ravikant. This book, in the introduction, so the book is broken into 2 parts, and not really even the chapters, mostly just like subsections. There's part 1. Let's see. There's part 1 called Wealth and part 2 called Happiness. Under Wealth, there's the subsection Building Wealth, Building Judgment. And then in part 2, under Happiness, there's Learning Happiness, Saving Yourself, and Philosophy. And then a bunch of tweets in between there. And then there's a bonus section with Naval's recommended reading, writing, and next on Naval. So that's this book, huh? Hey, I don't know if you're still in the chat, and because I don't expect you to be chatting the whole time. But if you're trying to chat, I'm not getting anything. I just wanted to say that because if you're saying that it was broken, and you got a couple messages in, but they're not I want you to know that I'm not getting anything else. And so if you're saying something, I got Discord open too. So if you want to open or say something in the Discord, let me know. Okay, let's jump into it. Introduction. This book is an intro to Naval's most explored topics, wealth and happiness. Oh, yes. Naval is 48, born November 5th, 74. So he's not even like old. He's middle-aged. And from this picture, he's freaking yacked, honestly. So, Naval's 48, and this book was written in 2020. And I follow a few... I'm here. It's working. Just chilling. Okay, just wanted to make sure. So, I follow a few book reading lists on Twitter as well. And this book is constantly at the top of the list. This is like several pages are like... books you must read before you die, and this is almost always at the top or close to the top. It's somewhere up there. So, and I get why. It's really good. It's got a lot of awesome insight, and it is like a conglomeration of all of our books in the past, summarized and broken down into Naval's own thoughts, into his own words. So, or rather, into his own tweets. And then broken down through interviews and other publications through Naval, and maybe some speculation from Eric Jorgensen. There's, when Eric was writing the intro, he said to not quote this book like it's all exactly Naval's words, but he also is like, they're mostly Naval's words. So I don't know, but it's about him. It's about Naval. So this book is an intro to Naval's most explored topics, wealth and happiness. So let's get into it. Part 1 is wealth. So yeah, I quoted a few tweets because there were a few tweets that were awesome, but most of it is just, notes and thoughts. So a constant theme to Naval's idea of wealth is you won't get rich renting your time. You must have equity in something valuable. That's like all of wealth. You will never get rich renting your time. You must have equity in something valuable. And that's what all of our wealth guys, our wealth books talk about. Maybe it's real estate that you want to, that you want equity in, or maybe it's an incredible stock portfolio, or maybe it's other businesses you want equity in, you get equity in. There are ways to, like, the point of having wealth, real wealth, is not in working a job and having a high-paying job. Long-term wealth is owning something valuable and then renting that thing out. Owning part of a business, or owning business or businesses, or owning a bunch of real estate, whether it's apartment buildings or a bunch of houses, or whatever, being a bank. Oh, we got a fucking bot in the chat. Nope. We don't do this. We don't tolerate this bullshit. So that's it's so distracting too. I hate it, man. I hate the stupid bots. How do I get this out of here? I'm going to click on your name and I'm going to report as spam or bots. Select all that apply. There we go. Okay, submit report. Thank you. Sorry about that. So, yeah, you need to own something for real wealth. And I have a few thoughts on he shares some things that I feel like we have some different opinions on, or like contradicting. He gives contradicting advice. We'll get into it. But the whole point of wealth is, for him and for most of the books that we read, if you want long-term wealth for yourself to enjoy life and then for your posterity, you need to own something valuable. You need to own multiple things of value. So let's keep going. Quote, "Reading is faster than learning, and doing is faster than watching." Close quote. Yeah, I do a lot of reading, and this I really appreciated this perspective because you'll never get anywhere without doing something. And no matter how well versed you are in a subject or on a topic, you have to, if you want to succeed at something, or if you want to innovate or create or what have you, you've got to be doing so. You've got to get out into the world. And he says that you will reading is faster than listening, and doing is faster than watching. Yes. So it's faster. Doing is faster than watching. It's like hands-on doing and reading instead of just listening to. I guess what I'm saying is the principle makes sense. I'm overcomplicating it. Reading is faster than listening, and doing is faster than watching. I love that. I love getting out into the world to do what it is that you're trying to accomplish. You have to be somewhat educated, and we talked about that in a book that we read recently, that you have to have some kind of knowledge. But like, if you're like me, I'm super OCD and kind of a perfectionist, and I want to know all of the information before I make a decision. But typically it's better to just go out there and try and make mistakes, and that will get you further faster than staying back and being super cautious. So I'm learning on that one. If I want to accelerate my progress, if you want to accelerate your progress, go out and be productive, be proactive, do what it is that learn what you're supposed to learn, but don't hesitate to take action. Focus on things that you're actually into. Yes, don't compete. Be different and be authentic. A huge message that he sends is to be authentic. Be yourself. Nobody can be you better than you can be you. So be yourself. Be different. He talks a little bit on our philosophy of excellence. I don't know what to call it. Where you can master one or two things in your life and suck at the rest, or you can be pretty well-rounded and a little above average at everything that's important to you. I don't know what we're going to call it. I like the philosophy of excellence, so we'll call it that for now on. What's his face from the Scott Galloway from the Algebra of Happiness talked about it really in depth too. Again, because nothing that I think of is actually original, but he explains if you want to be like, if you enjoy exercise and when you exercise you like to play, look, this is me. I like to play pickleball, lift weights, do yoga, play golf, ride mountain bikes. In the past I've done a lot of running. Like, there's lots of forms of exercise that I enjoy. I can do all of them throughout my life, throughout the week, and be pretty good at all of them. But if I want to be like one of the best, if I want to be a high achiever at any of them, it's going to come at the cost of the others. So if I want to be an excellent mountain biker or pickleball, let's go pickleball because I like that the most. If I want to be excellent at pickleball, I have to spend more time doing that and less time lifting weights, less time doing yoga, less time golfing, less time mountain biking. So, and then at the same time, you're also spending less time at your job, less time doing other hobbies, less time reading, less time writing. Because if being a pro pickleball player is your number one priority, if you want to be a master at that, you're going to sacrifice everything else. Just like we talk about Cameron Hanes and David Goggins, best in the world at what they do. Cameron Hanes is a world-class bow hunter and ultra-marathon runner. Well, I should just say bow hunter because his ultra-marathon running career is, as he says, is supplemental to his bow hunting career. So he practices, everything that he does is to make him the best bow hunter possible. And that comes at a cost of, in his book, he explains he's never taken his family on vacation. And he leaves his kids at the movie theater so he can go running. He sacrifices quality time with his family to be the best in the world at what he does. And that's the price you pay. Or if you don't care to be the best, if that's not your value, then you can be well-rounded. You can be a decent bow hunter. You can be a decent runner. And then a decent family man. Make sure you spend time with your kids and your wife. Like, you get to focus on what's important to you. So he talks about the same thing too. Taking accountability puts pressure on you to do the right thing, work hard, etc., instead of operating under an alias or pseudo name. If you own the thing, put your name on it, and that'll put pressure on you to make sure it works properly. And this is kind of vague. This is kind of a vague note because it seems like in his world, as you become more successful or more popular, a lot of people up at the top, the super wealthy and the super famous, will do a lot of shit like that. They'll operate under different names, under pseudonyms. I guess like in my I can relate to that to some extent because I have an LLC. I have two LLCs that operate my business, so that reduce liability for Caden. But I guess my name is still on the LLCs. So I don't know. But what I like what he's saying though is if you take accountability of what you're doing, if you put your name on it, then it puts pressure on you to make sure it works properly, that it's honest, or that it meets your high values. And if you value integrity and discipline and patience, then and you have a business or you have a podcast, then if you put your name on it. My podcast is literally called Book Club with Kate and Kelly. I guess I couldn't have put my name more on it. It's in the fucking title. So I'm responsible to show up because it's my podcast. And if I was lazy, or if I didn't put in the work or make the notes or read the books, or I just stopped recording or recorded on, I was late or whatever. That reflects me. So it puts pressure on me to show up and puts pressure on me to do it right. So if you want to improve anything in your life, put your name on it. If you have a business or if you have a hobby, put your name on the thing, and that'll put pressure on you to improve whatever it is that you're part of. And if you're a family person and you suck at being a family person, consider that your name is literally on you and on the rest of your family. And how you conduct yourself represents you as an individual. Quote, following your genuine intellectual curiosity is a better foundation for a career than following whatever is making money right now. Close quote. Authenticity trumps. You'll be excited about it and stick with it over the long haul. If you follow your genuine intellectual curiosity, then it'll feel like you'll never work a day in your life. All of your time will be spent doing what you enjoy, what you value, what gives you life satisfaction, what makes you feel like a better person. What satisfies and tickles your genuine intellectual curiosity. So, if my job consisted of, or if my hobby, if this podcast was always about like fucking politics, I wouldn't do it, because that's not something that brings me peace or makes me feel like a better person. At least in the way that I'm thinking about politics right now, which is not a positive. But reading about self-help and finance and my health and my wellness and philosophy and the purpose of life and the origin of life and human behavior and why we do what we do and how we can influence the world, more realistically, influence the people around us. That's the shit that excites me. So I love reading these. Like, it's not a chore to read all these books and to sit down and focus. Even for the last month or two, where I've been super busy and it's been hard to finish these books early. I've been staying up late, not really staying up late, but giving up weekends and giving up a lot of free time to read. And it's not like I hate it. It's not like I hate that I have to stop playing video games to read, because I love the books that I'm reading. And that's the point. That's if I had to give up pickleball and give up video games and give up music to read books on politics, I wouldn't do it. So it's important to whatever you're pursuing, whether it's your career or you're starting a business, or whatever you're getting engaged in, make sure it's something that you that satisfies your genuine intellectual curiosity. I like that, the way he says it. It's a better foundation for a career than following whatever is making money. Yeah, it's like buying into crypto, or like being a stockmonger. Yeah, isn't a monger like, no, what's the word that I'm thinking of? I don't know what the word is. But like, I'm not stock. Yeah. What's mogul? Is mogul the word I'm thinking of? Let me look it up. An important or powerful person, especially in the motion picture of. No. Oh, wait. That's the first. The second, a bump on a ski. No, mogul? Yeah. Mogul sounds right. What's the word I'm thinking of? Like someone that's obsessed with a thing. Isn't there a word like mogul? I don't know. I'm faking it, baby. We're faking it till we make it. Yeah, instead of following what's making money right now, like when the economy was crazy or like what do they call the AMC stock and GameStop stock when it was taking off? Instead of like trying to just follow whatever is quote unquote making money, you'll have a better life and you'll find more success by doing what is actually important to you. So that's the point. I'm going to move on. I have no idea what that word is that I was trying to use. Okay. If they can train someone else to do your job isn't that significant. Do something with high speciality. That's what he says. That's the note that I took from the book. And I said, I disagree. And so maybe I misunderstood what he was saying. Because I said, do what it is that you love and then follow the stepping blocks from other books like Set for Life to own things like Naval is saying. His principle is if your job is something that anybody can be trained to do, then it's not that, I guess instead of saying significant, it's not that special. It's not that unique. You're not that unique. I'm not that unique because I'm not unique at all. Carpet cleaning and doing a podcast, give me a fucking break. How many podcasts are there? How many the carpet cleaning world is so saturated. So I'm not doing anything special. I'm not going to become wealthy or rich by doing what it is that I'm doing. And that's fine. That's fine. He's not saying don't do those things, but the point that he's saying, the reason why I disagreed from that thought initially is because if you want to create something with extraordinary wealth, it's got to be something that nobody else has done and that nobody else is equipped to do. So when social media was blowing up, there was like specific knowledge at like developing social media software, coding it for Uber. Like I still have Naval's Wikipedia pulled up, like coding Uber and coding Twitter and coding Poshmark and Postmates. They were revolutionary. All of this was revolutionary, and that's why he became so wealthy. He invested in these things early on. It gave him a lot of money. And it made those creators and it made the engineers extremely wealthy as well. But now creating a social media company is not that unique unless it's something completely out of the ordinary, like a TikTok. TikTok revolutionized social media. Before it was just sharing, it was tweeting and it was sharing pictures on Facebook. And now it's these short, quick bursts of dopamine on TikTok, and every social media has integrated some form of TikTok on their platform. Facebook has it, Instagram has it, YouTube has it, Twitter has it now. It's all because they realized it was revolutionary. It was a winner. That was a fucking winner. So if you want to be extremely wealthy, go create something new. I think that's what he's saying. But the point that I was trying to make from that without understanding it properly was, if everyone has to work anyway, and it should be work that you enjoy. It has to be work that you enjoy, or else you're not going to do it. But the point is that work is not the end goal. If you want wealth, that job that you're working, the job that anyone can replace you at, is only the stepping stone to get to where you need to go or get to where you want to be. You work the job to make the paycheck, to invest the paycheck into whatever it is that is going to set you apart from the rest. Whatever it's going to be. And just like Set for Life talked about, just like, what's that? I always forget that other one. The other financial one. I don't think I have it up here. No, I don't see it. Might be upstairs. Oh, no. Financial Freedom by Grant Sabatier. Those books, it was work your job, work really hard, make as much money as possible in the short term. And then instead of using that money to get a new car or upgrade your apartment or whatever, it was earn that money and invest it in things like the total stock market index fund at Vanguard, invest it in real estate, invest it in other businesses, and earn equity. And that's what Naval is saying. Earn equity. Or own things. Own equity. Own things that are valuable and will increase in value over time. Cash does not increase in value over time, and neither does your fucking car or new wave runners or whatever it is that you're going to buy with your money. That's not how you get wealth. Let's keep going. Forms of leverage. And then I said, just reading this, leverage in my head is something that does the hard work for you. Okay, and that was like leverage might be like a no-brainer for most people, but it was kind of an epiphany for me as I was reading this, because it just changed my perspective on what leverage is, and it made it now to me it's more practical. It makes sense what leverage is and why it's so valuable to make money or to become wealthy. Let me tell you why. Oh, the water's so good. Okay. There are 3 major forms of leverage throughout all time. The first is people working for you. He says this is the worst form of leverage because you're one short hop away from a mutiny. People working for you are employees. It's people doing the manual labor for you. It's leverage because they're literally doing the work for you. In my company, I have technicians doing the technical work. I have an office lady doing the scheduling, taking the calls, fielding the calls. But then I'm still stuck with the rest. I'm still stuck with this, with the sales, with the accounting, with the marketing, with the entrepreneurship side. There's still so much possibility for leverage in the business, in my business. And yeah, and just like what I was explaining, one of my employees is sick, called in sick. Now I'm down a person. and then how am I going to get the work done? Someone's got to do it. So I got to go out and do it. And my brother, who's also working, is stepping in to help pick up the workload. So, but on the other hand, sometimes I will fuck up as a boss, and maybe at one point I'll fuck up and it'll make my employees not like me, and then they all quit. And then what? You're one short hop away from a mutiny. Employees are leveraged to help you grow a business, but it's the worst form of leverage. Sorry, I got a freaking itch, like in my beard, in my nose. So that's the first form of leverage, and it's been around the longest. The second form of leverage is capital, having a ton of cash. He says that this form of leverage dominated for the last century. Having a bunch of cash to invest in equity, invest in businesses and in people and in stocks and in real estate, and let that cash, quote unquote, work for you. It becomes an employee. I can hear Robert Kiyosaki from Rich Dad Poor Dad talking about making every dollar you earn an employee. And in principle, it's awesome. You earn $1, and then that dollar literally becomes your employee, and will when you put it becomes your employee when you put it in something that increases in value over time. When you earn equity with that dollar, that $1 will convert to many dollars over time. And the more dollars you have invested, the more equity that you have. The more leverage that you have. Yeah, no. The more dollars you have, the more dollars they generate, the more equity that you earn. Yeah. So and a reason that capital is a better form of leverage than employees is because capital doesn't talk back, and it doesn't have opinions, and it doesn't have sick days, and it doesn't have anything. It does what you tell it to do. So in that regard, capital is way better than, but it's harder to. It's not harder. Employees are hard to earn, good employees, but also it's hard to earn dollars. You got to go put in your own time and effort to earn dollars to invest. But it's better. It's still better. So there's those two, and then the third one. This is in his opinion by far the best form of leverage. He calls it products with no marginal cost of replication. These look like books or media, podcasts, movies, and code, amongst others. He says code is by far the best product with no marginal cost of replication. Code is the best form of leverage that a person can have. This form of leverage is brand new, and how the new generation will make their fortunes. So, code is like creating websites and creating algorithms, and and then you own the system that is functioning. So in my business, I have a software that I use to manage my customers, manage my clients, the invoicing, the scheduling, the communication. It's called Jobber, and I love it. So the people that created the code that makes Jobber work are making money in their sleep, essentially. They have X amount of people subscribe. You pay yearly. I pay yearly for it. And it just works on its own. And if it works well, if the code works well, then more people will subscribe. And you don't have to do shit. You hire people to manage it or something, But code... code is one amongst other things. Books have been around. Is probably the oldest form of a product with no marginal cost of replication. Books, you write a book and you own the copyright, and then you get a publisher and they make it and sell it, and you go to sleep and they just make it and sell it. Well, I mean, maybe they don't sell it, but if it sells, if people want to buy it, then fuck, you got, it just prints and gets bought and gets printed and gets bought. And you collect a check and you collect a check and you collect a check after you do the hard work. So this is the best form of leverage. You own a thing that is producing income and doesn't require additional time, or at least as much time that you initially put in, or energy, or money. You put in a lot of money to develop the code, but then it takes very, very little money to maintain, right? And books are tough because you got to, you pay for the paper and the ink and whatever. Anyway, this is leverage. And if you want to become wealthy, you should use all the forms of leverage that you can get your hands on, or that you can not manipulate, but forms of leverage that you can use. Yeah. Employees, which through people working for you. Capital, by earning money and investing it in the right things. And then creating products that people will buy that will put money in your pocket over time. Like White Glove could create, and after reading this, I realized that I'm an idiot for not having thought of doing something like this sooner, but just create products that people can buy, and have a website that people can go to and buy a product from White Glove. And if it's an awesome product, people will buy a lot of it, and then that will be a huge source of revenue for me, for the business. And all it will require is, well, I don't know all that it will require, but it requires creating an awesome product that's easy to reproduce, and someone else at a manufacturer makes it, and then somebody sells it, or somebody distributes it. I don't know. See, what the fuck do I know? But I'm getting there, baby. We're getting there. All right, let's keep going. Still on wealth. You'll never get rich loaning your time or working a job. Again, working is the fundamental first step to creating wealth, but it's not the last step. Quote, earn with your mind, not with your time. Yeah, he's echoing what he said earlier. You'll never get rich by working a job, but that job is the essential first step to becoming wealthy. You work the job to earn the money, to buy the things, to invest in the things. Learn to sell and learn to build. Like build products or code and then sell the product or code. Yeah. That's how you get wealth. Those are two fundamental skills, selling and building. Wealth is not a lump sum win. It's not a one-time winner. Wealth stacks up over time. Wealth is wealth is, well, brain fart. Wealth is the steady, consistent investment over time that you make. It's not like some people get lucky and will the one time they invest in something, they make millions of dollars. But maybe that doesn't even happen just like the one time. Maybe it takes a lot of losing money before you strike gold. I mean, I don't know how much Naval was investing in what he was investing in before Uber, Foursquare, Twitter, Poshmark, Postmates, Snap. I don't know what he was investing in before, but he struck gold on some of these companies, you know. So, wealth is an accumulation of investments over time. Yeah, and don't expect to create your wealth through one big winner. All of the financial books that we read say steady, consistent investing in this total stock market index fund. That's the big popular one with Vanguard. Or saving to buy real estate and saving to buy or invest in businesses and then continuing to invest. Mashed potatoes, how do you get into the circles to invest in some kind of tech? Yeah, how do you I think you got to be in California where all the Silicon Valley. I've never had anyone pitch me on a tech startup. I guess I just need more money. Yeah, you need cash anyway, but I think here's how I see it. It's kind of like a Shark Tank thing, as the way I see it. They're companies like these big ones like Uber and Twitter and Poshmark, like those weren't cool. Those weren't they weren't even conceived. You know, they didn't exist, and there wasn't anything like them that existed. So maybe there was other up and coming companies that were similar to them, but like those were gold. You know, that's gold. That's striking gold. But I think it's like those companies are like, hey, we're Twitter. We're thinking about becoming the public square of thought on the internet. I mean, you know what the internet is, right? It's like because wasn't Twitter founded in like 2006 or created in founded March 2006. So in 2006, people are like, what the fuck are you, like, the internet, the public square of the internet? I mean, give me a break. But then there are guys like Naval, they're like, yeah, man, let's do it. I'll when shares are like 3 cents a share, I'll buy 1,000 shares for $300 or $30, whatever it would be. And then, and then 16 years later, it's worth $500 a share. What is Twitter stock worth these days? Let me see. Whoops. Twitter stock after Elon bought it. Oh, yeah. Musk took it off when he bought it. He went private. What was Twitter stock before Musk? Yeah, he paid $54.20 a share. So whatever that math is, if you bought 1,000 shares for 3 cents or 5 cents or 10 cents, and then it jumps up to $54, you struck gold. And if you so like today, I think today's investments are they're like the nobody wants them. They're the things that are like insanely risky. And then sometimes they work out, but you probably gotta like spread out your money across a whole bunch of different ideas if you want to try to strike gold in the next 15 years. So I don't know, I don't know. You got to have enough cash, and you got to go to the right events with the right companies showing up. Like there are angel investing opportunities out there, like a Shark Tank for small investors. People will show up. My dad has talked about doing something similar. So, you got to find the companies that are trying to get money or earn capital. Like, what's the Kickstarter website? Let's see. Kickstarter exists to help bring creative projects to life. A home for film, music, art, theater, games, comics, design, photography, and more. It's a place where people have an idea for something. Yeah, look at this. A small refillable bike chain care tool cool. Someone created this little thing, and they're looking for some money to build up their business. So that's one way to do it. Let's keep going. Status is a zero sum. If you win, someone else loses. Nice. 3 really big decisions you make in your early life. Really big decisions. Who you're with, where you live, and what you do. These will greatly impact the rest of your life. That's what he says. Who you're with, where you live, and what you do. Yeah, you should spend a lot of time thinking about those things. You shouldn't jump in. You just like you shouldn't jump into any relationship. You shouldn't just jump into any career, and you shouldn't just jump into any like living situation. You should consider where you want when you become of age to move out. Or you're ready to settle down or something. You should consider where you want to go. What gives you the best opportunity, right? And if you're like if you want to be in the tech world, you got to go somewhere where the tech is. You can't go to Montana if you want to be in the tech world. Or if you are from Montana and you want to be you got to get out. You got to go to Silicon Valley or the Silicon Slopes in Provo or what. You got to be around the tech and be involved. Don't upgrade your lifestyle as you make money. It'll keep the lust for money at bay. A higher value is to earn money to earn freedom, not to earn money for money's sake. Yes. If you the love of money is not evil. In fact, we all need money to survive and to pay our bills and to buy food. And so we have to earn money, but loving money is like wanting to earn as much money as possible just like to gloat or for status is a losing mentality. It's a loser mentality because one, you'll never feel like you have enough. If you are trying to earn as much money as possible, then if you're earning $50,000, that's not enough. $100,000, wow, I can make more. That's not enough a year. $250,000 a year, wow, I can earn more. That's still not enough. $500,000, $750,000, $1 million, wow, I can still earn more. This is just not enough then. And then you are buying extravagant things. And so his advice is don't upgrade your lifestyle as you make money. It'll keep the lust of money at bay. So as you earn money, it's like it's modesty and it's what's the word? Oh, like the word of wisdom. Moderation and modesty. Is that the same word? To be to be frugal and to not be extravagant and not buy big mansions and fancy cars and take expensive vacations as you start earning money. That's not it's not that you shouldn't enjoy those things. It's not that those things are immoral, but if you can control your appetite, then you'll find more satisfaction in the money that you earn. Plus, it'll give you opportunities to earn more money and consequently save, or build up your kids' funds, whatever. It'll give your kids more money, whatever. What making money does is removes your money problems. That's what he said. And I would say it doesn't remove money problems, it changes them. But money problems from having too much money is better than money problems with not having enough money. It's better to have money and then have money problems than it is to have no money and have money problems. I think Kiyosaki is the one that illustrated that, and that stuck. If you're poor, you have money problems. You can't pay your bills. You can't afford things. And so you think, I'm just going to make a bunch of money, and then my money problems will go away. But that's not true. The more money you earn, in fact, sometimes the more money problems you have. Just because you have money doesn't mean that your problems go away. You still got to pay bills. And just like I was explaining, if you start increasing your expenses, you're going to have bigger money problems. Plus, you'll be, the government will come after you for taxes, and that's a different money problem that you have if you don't have any money, and financial sharks are going to try to come after you for your money. Money problems don't go away by earning money. You got to be smarter so you know how to deal with money and money problems. Okay. Let's keep going. We're almost done with part 1. The direction you're headed is far more important than the speed at which you're moving. This goes hand in hand with what we said earlier about making money, or rather about doing something rather than staying on the sidelines. The direction you're headed is more important than the speed. So make decisions, and then don't. A problem that I have is, I guess maybe just growing up and being immature, is, I want money now, and I want success now, and I want comfort now, and I want security now. We all want these things now, but most of it comes over time through a lot of hard work and patience, a lot of patience, just like exercising. If you want big muscles, or you want 6-pack, or you want to lose a bunch of weight, or wherever you're at in your fitness and your health, it takes time. It just takes a lot of time. Like for instance, personal example. I'm going to be vulnerable here. Let me just talk to you for a second. I started taking that medicine when I got sick with my colitis in October, and since then I've gained 15 pounds. And last week I weighed myself. I was 15 pounds over my ideal weight. And so I was like, geez, I can just keep going on this journey that I'm at, or I can start losing weight. And I did my macros, I did the calorie counter, and I calculated my exercise and blah 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 to see what it would take, what it's going to take to get back down to my ideal weight from where I'm at now. And if I want to lose a pound a week to get back, it'll take me 15 weeks of just strict discipline. 15 weeks to get down to where I want. And you know what 15 weeks is in months? It's almost 4 months. Right? Yeah, it's almost 4 months of being in a calorie deficit for a pound a week. I mean, that's 4 months is not a short amount of time for 15 pounds. And but you know what? That's what it takes. If I want to lose 2 pounds a week, that's still 2 pounds. That's 2 months. The point is, I mean, I could accelerate it. But it's a harder regimen to maintain. I feel like shit. You feel worse off because you're eating less food and you're doing extra exercise to burn more calories. And it's just harder to maintain. It makes more sense to, so the point what I'm saying is, it's not the speed. The speed is not as important as the direction that you're headed. So whether it's with your health or whether it's with your education, like if you were going to school, it's better to like study a little bit every day, to read a little bit, and to do practice problems every day than it is to like do 8 hours once a month. 8 hours, like an 8-hour day once a month, or 8 hours every day. Like that's just tough to maintain. And then your chances of success are lower. So it's better to slow it down and be consistent. Like my music, I've been practicing my guitar a lot lately, and I've been doing at least 30 minutes a day. And at least 30 minutes a day puts me at a good pace to be better in like a year. But it will take a year of doing it. But doing 30 minutes a day for a year is so much more sustainable than trying to do 3 or 4 or 5 hours a day so I can be better in a month, The speed is not as important as the direction. Mashed Potato says, that's why I have a rule to never be more than 20 pounds away from my ideal weight. It's so hard to lose more than 20 pounds. Respect to the people that are able to lose like 100 pounds. That takes years. Dude, it takes years, and it takes discipline and consistency on like a completely different level. Those big weight losers, yeah, they got to stay focused, and it's so hard, and they got to do it, yes, for so long. So if you let your weight go early, it's tough to get back. So yeah, it's a good rule to never be more than 20 pounds from your ideal weight. It's not like you have to be, people talk about balance and enjoying life sometimes, and it's okay to go out, and it's okay to eat cake sometimes. But if you eat cake every night, you're going to gain weight. And if you gain weight, are you going to take accountability for the weight that you gain? Are you going to maintain your health? Is that a value of yours, to be healthy or to be fit or to be strong and capable? Because if it is, then eating cake every night is not going to get you there. It's okay to eat cake, and it's okay to gain weight. But if you never take accountability for it, it's a slippery slope, man. It's been 2 months for me. I've gained that 15 pounds, and I got to start now. I got to say, all right, I don't want to gain more weight. I want to maintain my health, my physique, my capability, my endurance, my cardiovascular strength. I want to be, or what is my cardio? Yeah, I want to be healthy and strong and capable. And if I keep going down this path, I'm going to keep gaining weight. It's not good. That's why I started this little mashed potatoes. That's why I started this little cut, because I got 5 pounds over my limit. Well, you're already, after last week, you're killing it already. We're in a little GM. We're keeping each other accountable. So yeah, you're on top of it. So I love that note. What the direction you're headed is far more important than the speed at which you're moving. Quote, this is a tweet from him. Part of making effective decisions boils down to how well you deal with reality, close quote. The problem isn't reality, it's that our desire collides with and opposes reality. Part of making effective decisions boils down to how well you deal with reality. So, yeah. I was having a conversation with my lady about reality. We were chatting about religion and chatting about astrology and magical crystals and energy and whatever. And in short, very briefly, my opinion and my belief is, if what you're believing makes you a better person, then do it. Regardless if there's validity to it or not. If it actually makes you a better person, then it would be wrong of me to deter anybody from the thing. It would be wrong. My opinion is that it's more responsible to understand the validity of the thing that you're believing. So if you believe in, and I'm a critic of crystals and energy, like we've discussed, so I'm okay talking about this. I don't think there's any validity to energy and astrology and cosmetology, or is that like doing people's hair? If when the stars align, or if Mercury's in retrograde, and how that impacts our life and our decision making. I think it's hocus pocus. And but if you believe in it and it makes you a better person, then I'm not going to tell you not to do it. But at a certain point, I think that it's more responsible to understand the authenticity or the reality of whatever it is that you believe. Okay, that's the point I'm making. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. If you're like, I believe in crystals and I don't care to go beyond that, and believing in crystals helps me, it connects me with my partner, and it helps me raise my kids, and it helps me do well at my job and be a good citizen and whatever, awesome. And do it, and never let that go, because it's important to live a meaningful life. And anyway, my point is, do you care about reality? And so this point that he's saying, part of making effective decisions boils down to how well you deal with reality. The problem isn't reality; it's that our desire often collides and opposes reality. So if something tragic happens in our life, we lose a loved one, we lose our job, our house burns down, something tragic. Can we accept and deal with the reality of the hard thing, or does our desire, like our connection, our attachment to our house, if our house burnt down, if your house burnt down, does your connection to your house, or do you have a strong connection to the house? Because if you do, it's going to be hard to let that go. It's hard to let, it's hard shit happens in life, but how we cope with it determines how well we move forward. And it really, the quality of our life. And all of the Stoics and Buddhist philosophy explains to remove our attachment from everything, detach from everything. That doesn't mean don't care about anything. It means don't identify with the thing. It means don't associate your well-being with the thing, because you're not your house, and you're not your partner, and you're not your job, and you're not your kids. You're not any of these things. You care about them and you love them deeply, and you give service to them. You give service to your family without ever expecting anything in return, because you don't control them, and you can't control if your house burns down. You can do a lot of things to mitigate it, but you can't control if someone sets your house on fire. You can't control if your boss decides to lay off half of the company. You can't control that shit. So you can't be attached. You can give your all to your job. You should give your all to your job. Do your best. Do your best to maintain the integrity of your home. Do your best to maintain your relationships. But do not attach yourself to them. That's the point. And I love that message. It's so hard to grasp. It's way easier said than done. Because if your partner ultimately leaves you, or if you have a kid or a loved one that dies tragically, coping with that shit is insane. It's insane. Is speaking from a place of gratitude that I haven't yet had to deal with anything that tragic. But I know that my time will come. It comes for everybody, because at the very least, your parents will die. At the very least, your grandparents will die. Or even at the very, very least, you will die. You will die. Your life will at some point end. If nothing else ever happens in your life, if you maintain some tragic free life, you will die. Unless some technology comes out that allows humans to live forever, whatever. But you will at some point will die. And if you're attached to being alive, then death will be really hard. So, and he says at some point, I think it's in part 2, that the best coping strategy, the best thing we can do for our overall well-being and peace is to meditate on our death. And you know what the Stoics call it? They call it memento mori. Contemplate your death. Spend time thinking about your death. Because at the end of the day, if nothing else tragic happens to you, that everybody faces death. Everybody faces death. So, facing your own death will help you live, or it will give you more perspective on the rest of your life and the rest of everyone else's life that you care about. Awesome. Almost done. Make time to be alone with your thoughts. Great ideas happen when you're bored, not when you're stressed or overworked and distracted. Remember Do Nothing by Celeste Headlee. I would recommend reading that one if you want to go over how important leisure is and not overworking. Creativity and innovation happens when we're not overworked, not stressed, not distracted. It's important to spend time alone with our thoughts, to meditate, but also to spend time doing things that put you in a flow state, that put you in a like where you're doing like pottery, making a fucking bowl or something. And it's something that you love, and it doesn't require like intense focus or it's not high stress, but it's relaxing. It's flow. You can do it for an hour and it feels like 5 minutes, right? Something like that. I'm making an imaginary bowl on the video. Being in those moments of flow increase your creativity, your innovation, and relax. They put you in a state of relaxation. They make you feel better, relaxes your mind and your body. So very important. Praise specifically, criticize generally. That's a quote from Warren Buffett. I love that quote. Praise specifically, criticize generally. If you cannot decide, the answer is no. It's an ultimatum on big decision making. If the answer is not an obvious yes, then the answer is no. Opt for short-term pain and long-term gain instead of short-term pleasure for long-term suffering. Yeah. That's why we do the exercise. That's why we read the books. That's why we take care of our family and we go to bed on time. And we don't just do drugs and have scandalous sex all the time, because choosing short-term pain for long-term gain. Even if, and the argument, well, you might die tomorrow. Why not just consume endless amounts of drugs and sex and forget your job and go on vacation and just spend all your money. You might die tomorrow. And it's true. You might die tomorrow. It's not, you don't say it, well, I'm going to go to the gym because I'm probably not going to die. I don't think that's the route you should take. I think, yes, you might die tomorrow, but because you might die tomorrow, means you should take extra accountability, extra responsibility today. You should be high alert today. You should tell your family that you love them. You should tell, I was going to say your boss, but no, you give your all to your job. You give your all to your career or to your hobby or to your business today because tomorrow you might die. You don't do the drugs and the sex because you might die tomorrow. You take extra responsibility, extra ownership today. You do your absolute best because you might not have tomorrow. And at the end of the day, everybody's going to die. Literally, and the world is going to come to an end at some point. It has to, scientifically, right? So at some point, none of it even matters. But for the time that you're here, do your best. Do your best. I got to keep going, man. We're already an hour into this, and I'm still in part 1. I got notes in part 2, but we can get through it. He says, reading an hour of finance and philosophy a day will put you in the upper echelon of success in 7 years. I don't even know what echelon means. I know it's like a group or a cat. Yeah, so echelon is a level or rank in an organization, a profession or society. Yeah, echelon. So yeah, it's your category. Reading an hour of finance and philosophy a day. That's what we're doing here, baby. That's why I give you books. I tried to give you the book that we're reading for next week so that you can get the book yourself and do the reading and put yourself in the upper echelon of society. If you want to separate yourself from the rest, you got to do something that the rest aren't doing. And most people aren't reading every day. Maybe not most, but a lot of people aren't reading it every day. They're not exercising every day. And they're not putting time into their hobby every day or into their family every day or to their religion, to things that are important to them, into their business, into their personal finance. They're not doing these things every day, but you have to do them every day to set yourself apart. Teach what you learn. Teaching enforces learning. That's why we do this motherfucking podcast, because teach what you learn. Teaching enforces learning. He says he loves scientific books. He says scientific books are the highest quality books. They're not speculation. And authors that are write books on speculation are just trying to make money. You should be wary of authors that are writing books just to make money. High quality books are scientific books, ones with studies. The ones that make claims with what are you doing? You coming to join the podcast? Come say hi then. Are you leaving? Okay, call me later. I'll call you later. Bye. Love you. Where was I? Yeah, books that make scientific claims and oh, it's so sweet. Now I'm distracted. Books that make scientific claims and then use evidence to support them are the highest quality books. So if you want to, if we're going to keep moving forward, that's why I struggled with that book that we read. What was that behavioral one? Might as well have just thrown it away. Where'd it go? What was that 4 personalities book that we read? But it was a bunch of bullshit. Fuck, where's it at? I don't know. I don't see it on my library. Oh, Surrounded by Idiots. There it is. By Thomas Erickson. There's a bunch of pseudoscience. No scientific, but he makes some claims like this is how like everybody is part of one of these 4 behavioral groups, and so this is what you need to know to interact with them the most effectively. But it was all just a bunch of hearsay. It was all just speculation, and not to say that there's no validity in knowing how to speak to a person who's usually pretty timid, or how to engage with someone who's rambunctious or big personality types. Like, obviously, everybody reacts differently to certain different interactions, but what he's saying is the books with scientific evidence and support their claims are the highest quality, and those are usually the ones that we should engage the most time with. Part 2, happiness. Need to drink some water. I've drank a lot of water. I got to pee now, but we're going to keep going. Part 2 is happiness. Happiness is the state when nothing is missing. It is the absence of desire. It is embracing the present moment. I love this definition of happiness. I think I've come to the conclusion that happiness is when your needs are met, right? It's where, like, going through the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, physiological needs, safety needs. Fuck, let me pull it back because it's so good. Maslow, it's Maslow, hierarchy of needs. Physiological needs, safety needs, and then it's love and belonging, esteem, and self-actualization. Those are Maslow's hierarchy of needs. When those are met, ideally, if all 5 are met, then we've reached what makes a person happy. Self-actualization is like that one. Kind of has no ceiling because it's how does this picture describe self-actualization? It's like what you can do beyond self-actualization, achieving one's full potential, including creative activities. There's really, so there's no ceiling on self-actualization because you can always be more creative. You can always go do more stuff. But physiologically, food, water, and warmth, like once you have that, it's met. Safety, security, it's met. Belonging and love, like an intimate relationship and friends, healthy relationships, it's met. You could have more friends, I guess, but like the Dunbar's number, which is like we can only really maintain a relationship with 150 people. Is it Dunbar? Fuck. I got so much Dunbar's number. I think that's we can only maintain. Yeah. Dunbar's number is the notion that there exists a cognitive limit on human groups of about 150 people. So, yeah, belonging and love needs, that will just be met. And then esteem needs like prestige and feeling accomplished. That, I guess that even could go, that could have no ceilings. Self-esteem and self-actualization are, this is cool. It breaks it down. So the first 2 are basic needs. The second 2 are psychological needs, self-esteem and belongingness. And then the last one is the self-fulfillment, which is self-actualization. So anyway, happiness is when those things are met, right? And that's what homie is saying here. And then happiness is a state when nothing is missing. And if I want to be super philosophical, I guess you don't even need all of your needs met because I am thinking about my dad serving a mission in Chile, and teaching a bunch of people with no floors in their homes. They had dirt floors, and they had to go find food every day for dinner, and they were happy. He said that they were happy. They they didn't have much, but you don't need much to be happy. And usually and the philosophy that we learn from all of this is from these books that we read is you are responsible for your happiness. You are the one that decides, regardless of how awesome or sucky your situation is, am I going to be at peace? So you can have a bunch of money or you can have no money, and you can decide, I'm happy with my situation. I'm happy with, and that doesn't mean you shouldn't go get money to meet, to buy food and to pay your bills, but you can be happy without it. So I really appreciate his description. Happiness is the state when nothing is missing. It's the absence of desire, and it's embracing the present moment. Okay, let's keep going on happiness. I said life is just what it is. Enjoy it. Yeah. You might be a white male middle class American, me, or you might be one of those people from Chile, Santiago, and have no money, or rather you'd have less money, less opportunity, or you might be fucking born to Kim Kardashian. You might be West Kardashian, or wait, what's his name? Northwest, her name. Don't they have a kid named Northwest? And, be born into a whole bunch of wealth, right? Whatever your lot in life is, you get to choose to enjoy it or not. You get to choose to live in the present moment. Happiness is being satisfied with what you have. Seeking success is a result of being dissatisfied with what you have. I came up with that second part, and after explaining those earlier parts, I don't know if I think I would revise that to saying, seeking success is not necessarily a result of being dissatisfied, but what are your intentions behind it? Because you can be happy, like he says, happiness is being satisfied with what you have, right? You can have all of your needs met. You can have all your needs met plus 1 million, or you can have a few of your needs met, and you can be happy. Like you can be. Let's make the distinction too between happiness and peace, because if you're like, I'm thinking about Viktor Frankl in the concentration camps, who had none of his needs met, and was he happy? He explained like what it's like to be at peace and accept your situation, accept these moments of involuntary suffering that you're subjected to. You can find peace when you are neglected your needs, but can you be happy? Yeah, I think so. That actually might be harder to maybe not harder, but peace and happiness are different, where happiness is the sensation of having your needs met or being satisfied with to what extent your needs are met. And peace is really, it's accepting whatever situation you're in and not desiring for a different situation. So maybe peace is situation-based and happiness is material-based or needs-based. I don't know. But they're different. You can have peace and not be happy or not have your needs met, but it's usually, I don't know if you can be happy but not be, maybe you can quote-unquote be happy but not be at peace, because you can be like a Northwest and grow up and to be entitled and be a problem for the world, create problems for yourself because you feel entitled to certain things and you don't receive everything that you feel entitled to. And then technically you're happy because you have all of the things. You have the safety, you have physiological needs, safety, belongingness, esteem, and opportunities for self-actualization, but you're just not doing it because your opportunity, because you are not acting on those opportunities. So you can have all the things that make up for happiness, but not be happy or not be at peace. I don't know. He says peace and happiness are skills, just like any other. Peace and happiness are skills, and they must be worked at. Quote, at the end of the day, we are a combination of our habits and the people we spend our time with. Yes. We're going to go back to that quote that we started with. We are dyed by the color of our thoughts. That's us. Right here again. At the end of the day, we are a combination of our habits and the people we spend our time with. The things that fill our minds and the things that take our time. We become all of those. We become what we give our attention to. That's it. We are dyed by the color of our thoughts. He says all screen activity is linked to more unhappiness. He shared some studies to support this. I don't remember them. I'm cherry picking the info. All screen activity is linked to more unhappiness or to less happiness. So spend less time on your screens, man. Come on. For all situations you're faced with, you can change it, accept it, or leave it. Changing your situation is a function of desire. I came up with this. Not the three parts, but the definitions. Changing it is a function of desire. Accepting your situation is a function of surrender, like being okay with whatever happens. This is how you obtain peace, is accepting a shitty situation or a hard situation and then letting it run its course and just observing the process, observing the outcome. That's surrender. So changing is a function of desire. You're in a situation and you physically work to make it different. That's desire. Acceptance is observing it as it runs its course. And leaving it, the last one is, I said, maybe a function of neglect. So leaving it alone is kind of like ignoring it or not paying attention to it or not giving it attention. So there may be a better word than neglect, but changing is a function of desire, accepting is a function of surrender, and leaving it is a function of neglect. Quote, we evolved for scarcity, but live in abundance, close quote. We say yes to everything because we don't consider as heavily as when we will have sugar, food, sex, etc. again. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's a little sloppy note there. We evolved for scarcity, but live in abundance. We are animals that grew up in a world where we didn't have Walmarts and we didn't have supermarkets or big ass monocrop farms to produce a bunch of food and distribute it to the world. We didn't have that. Probably most of our human evolution, we have been hunting and gathering our food. We've been out in the world, hunting animals, collecting berries and fruits and vegetables, and then, if you didn't hunt or gather, you didn't eat. And then if you came across something magnificent like a berry bush or like a honeycomb hive, like you ate all of it because you didn't know when you were going to stumble across honey again or fresh water or, things like this. So you just consumed as much as you could. And that's why the Native Americans are given the reputation of not wasting any part of an animal after a kill, like buffalo. When when Europeans hunted the buffalo to near extinction for sport, the Native Americans were disgusted because Native Americans hunted buffalo and used every part of the animal because you didn't know when you were going to get another. When they also have different traditions and respected the animal and did such a bunch of different things, but that's the point. And now we live in a world with Walmart and monocrop farms and Amazon same-day delivery. So our bodies, they haven't evolved or changed quick enough with the times that we live in. Our bodies are still designed to consume all of the food that we get because our body is its function is we don't know when we're going to have food again, so let's eat everything. But now we have to actively decide not to eat everything. And it's hard. It's hard as shit. I'm terrible at it. I'm not terrible. I'm trying to be better at it, at disciplining myself with my diet and not overeating. So yeah, and the same applies for sex, other basic human needs. We like one reason why porn is so addictive is because it stimulates those sexual desires that all humans have or most humans have, and and sex feels good, so we want to engage in as much sex or as much sex stimulating events as possible because we don't know our bodies haven't evolved with the times, and our bodies don't know when we're going to have sex again, right? So yeah, our body and then male and female are different for different reasons, but that's the point. We evolved for scarcity, but we live in a world of abundance. He simplifies eating and exercising to this: stay away from extreme opinions and do the fundamentals every day. Eat whole foods and do some kind of exercise. Yeah, it makes me think of like the fucking Liver King, right? Who's a fraud. I don't have enough time to talk about Liver King, but stay away from people with strong opinions who only advocate for one specific diet, like carnivore or vegan or paleo or whatever, that only do this. There's no exceptions. And same thing for workout programs. People are like, this is the only workout program that works. Follow it with no exception. They're usually just trying to make money off of you. So he says stick to the fundamentals, which are eating clean, eating whole foods, and do some kind of exercise every day. Easy choices, hard life. Hard choices, easy life. This is what his physical trainer says. Easy choices that we kind of already talked about. Easy choices, hard life. From an earlier thought, we put in the hard work today for an easier life in the future. Like we discipline ourselves with our diet. We discipline ourselves with our exercise. We exercise every day. We read and we practice our hobbies. And we spend time with our families so that our life is easier down the road. Mashed Potatoes says, the more extreme the idea, the more cautious you should be. Yes, that's your own personal philosophy, and I think it's a healthy one to adopt, that everybody should adopt. The more extreme the idea, the more cautious you should be. Your mind saying it's cold is different than your body is saying it's cold. Your mind, suffering in your mind, the idea is suffering in your mind is different than suffering in the body. And he was talking about cold showers and doing cold showers and cold plunges and stuff. And I know exactly what he's talking about, man. I've been pretty good about doing a cold shower every day for the last little while, and I turn on that motherfucking cold shower and I stare at the water and I bitch all the time about how fucking cold it's gonna be. And but then I end up doing it and it's fine. I'm fine. I'm fucking fine. But it's so turning it on and knowing how cold it's gonna be makes it so hard in my head. And he says his personal philosophy, his personal way of addressing it is, as soon as he recognizes his mind complaining about how cold it is, that's when he gets in. That's no hesitation. And for the last few days, I've been doing that. I'll turn it on, and yeah, I can just I'll stare at it, or I'll fidget, or pretend like I'm doing something so I don't have to get in right away. And then as soon as I notice that, I'm like, all right, fuck, go. Time to go. And I'll just get in. And, that's it. The suffering that comes before, the suffering in the mind is far more toxic and worse for you than the suffering in the body, than being in the cold. Once you're in the cold, it's just cold. And then you take deep breaths and you keep your mind calm, and it's a strength, it's a resilience exercise. You're building your character, you're building a stronger character and mental fortitude by doing cold showers and by doing other hard things like exercising and discipline, right? When you really want to change, you will, but most of us don't really want to, or are petrified of the pain that change requires. Change. So if you're an unhealthy person and want to be healthy, or if you're sedentary and want to be active, or if you're uneducated and want to be educated, or if you're not spiritual or religious and you want to be spiritual or religious, it requires change. And what change entails can be painful, mostly uncomfortable. It's because you're doing something that you don't normally do. Like if you don't read books and then you want to read books, you'll learn really quickly that you spend a lot of time staring at paper, staring at ink on paper. And when you normally would be watching TV or scrolling through social media or doing something, like maybe you're normally doing something else that's actually awesome, like doing something else like golfing, but instead you're like, I want to be a better reader. You're going to spend more time staring at paper. And that shit's just, it's hard to do that. It's hard to sit down and be a reader, especially if you've never been a reader or have classified yourself as a non-reader. But for anything that you want to do that you don't normally do, requires change, and it's uncomfortable. But if it's uncomfortable, it's a pretty good indicator that it's working, that what you're doing is actually working. The change that you're trying to make is working. You're like, if you don't want to read, but you read, or if you don't want to write, but you write, and it's uncomfortable and it sucks, you're doing it. You're fucking doing it. And then over time, it gets easier. And I sent a video to my friends about how that doing the thing every day over time gets easier. And then my friend made a joke. It sent in a video from BoJack Horseman. It was the same thing where he's running and he's like, oh man, I fucking hate running. It's so hard. And then some guy or some monkey character comes in and is like, you just got to do it every day. And it's going to be hard, but it gets easier. You just got to do it. If you actually want to change, you will. And you'll put yourself through those uncomfortable moments and you'll get better and it'll become less uncomfortable. It doesn't become easier. You become stronger. You become more resilient. And aren't those characteristics that we want? He says science is the best method of understanding the universe because it offers falsifiable predictions. unlike religions, which is a note. I love this note. I've never thought about falsifiable predictions. But what science offers is an opportunity to be proven wrong. It says this is what we think the universe is, but we're open for other suggestions. Like we think that this is what we know about evolution. This is what we know about the Big Bang. This is what we know about like theoretical physics. Like what was anyway, this is how we think things work. But prove us wrong, and let's see if you can come up with a better theory or a better idea that's testable and provable, and that's what science is. And so he's and just like I was saying earlier, I don't want to take away from things that make people a better person, but I think it's more responsible to embrace reality, and reality as we understand it is science, and it's like the best tool that we have to understand the universe and understand reality. And because that's the case, what was this? We should embrace reality is what I'm trying to say. Especially if you want to actually understand the universe, because you can go on like some crazy trip with like do ayahuasca in the rainforest and then have like a mind-altering experience, and you're like, I understand the mother. You meet the mother when you do ayahuasca or something, and it associates with like the creation of the universe, and like, but then it's like, is that definitive proof, or is that a leading theory for the origin of the universe? And so, and is it can you test things like that repeatedly? And anyway, you see what I'm saying? Mashed Potato says, you're talking to an expert when they say things like, I think, and probably. The more sure someone is, the less they probably know about the subject. Experts are only aware of what they don't know. The basic stuff doesn't occur to them anymore. If someone is talking in absolutes constantly, they probably only know the basics. I really like what you said in the end of that first one. The more sure someone is, the less... Oh, wait, no. Yeah, experts are only aware of what they don't know. Yes, I think that's awesome. They're so aware of the fundamentals that they're constantly challenging the unknowable, or the unknown rather. They're constantly considering the unknown. The known is a given, right? I'm not a scientist, and I'm not an expert in any field, or even moderately educated in any scientific field. But I really like what you're saying. Like people who are way down the rabbit hole of any kind of scientific understanding, when something is conclusive, then they move on, and then they start considering what isn't conclusive, and what is unknown, or what are we unsure about, or what is like kind of shaky at best. Oh, now you're quoting Socrates. I know that I am wise because I know that I know nothing. Yes, and then Einstein said the same thing as well. What was Einstein's quote? Because I referenced it too. Anyway, that was St. Steve's TV. Yeah, St. Steve's TV is quoting Socrates. I know that I am wise because I know that I know nothing. Yeah, that's awesome. So, I don't even know what note was I on. Understanding the universe. Yeah. That give falsifiable predictions. Cool. All right. Nice thought. Let's move on. We're almost done. Social approval comes from studying what society likes, and winners and losers explore outside societal bounds. So just like those gold mine companies like Twitter and Snapchat and Instagram and Facebook and stuff, those things were created by people who were exploring outside the norm of society. Because at the time, in 2006, you had TV and you had the newspaper and magazines, and then the internet was brand new, and they learned we can create, people like explored that we can put create this platform for people to interact with each other on the internet from their homes without needing to go to the public to like a physical town square to interact, or to the bars, or to church. You can have, or to debates. Like, you can have all of these interactions online. That's winners and losers, quote unquote. Facebook and Twitter and Snapchat, they were all winners, but I know that there was a lot of companies out there that were losers. And in fact, I saw something about when cars were created, Henry Ford and Chevrolet and other models were like a few out of hundreds of people trying to create cars. Only a few stuck. There were only a few winners. But if you invested in Ford, or if you were a part of Ford or a part of Chevy or Porsche or Lamborghini, I think those were some of the original manufacturers, GM, you were a big time winner. But there were a lot of fucking losers. There were way more losers than there were winners in the car manufacturing world. So social approval comes from studying and being a part of what society likes and approves of, but winners and potentially losers explore outside societal bounds. Quote, "The hardest thing is not doing what you want, it's knowing what you want." I love that quote. The hardest thing is not doing what you want, it's knowing what you want. Your time will always be more valuable than anything else. Do not waste any of your time doing what you do not want to do. But first you got to know what the fuck it is you want to do. And the only way you can know what it is you want to do is, one, you got to go out there into the world and do a bunch of shit, try things, learn about things that you like, and then realize things that you don't like. And you also got to spend time alone with your thoughts, contemplating how certain things made you feel, right? That's the only way you can know what it is you like and don't like. You got to try it, and you got to think about it. And it's hard to get out there and try everything. You probably shouldn't try everything. You should just try a few things. Think about things that you already have experienced and things that you've already liked. That's why public education is good, because it exposes you to a bunch of avenues to take down the road. But you got to pick one eventually, and then pick one that you like the most, and then get really good at it. Or just spend your time doing it or thinking about it or innovating in it or whatever it is. The hardest thing is not doing what you want, it's knowing what you want. There is no intrinsic meaning to the universe, at least that we are aware of yet. So it is up to us to define what that meaning is. Establish your core values and live by them without compromise. There is no intrinsic meaning to the universe, at least that we are aware of yet, so it is up to us to define what that meaning is. Establish your core values and live by them without compromise. So good I had to say it twice. Do I even need to elaborate on it? If you want more information on that kind of line of thinking, go check out whatever their name is, Kurzgesagt on YouTube, and find their video called Optimistic Nihilism. One of my favorite videos of all time, and it explains really well my philosophy, or what I believe as far as the meaning of life, which is this principle that there is no definitive explanation for the universe, the creation of it, the purpose of it, or what happens when we die. There's no definitive answer. There's a whole bunch of speculation, but there's no definitive answer. And so the point of the video is a world devoid of meaning seems miserable, but in fact, if we live in a universe that is devoid of meaning, all that means is we get to choose its meaning. We get to decide what that meaning is. And that's a really positive way to look at the world. It's optimistic. It's nihilistic, but it's optimistic. The last quote I have is, "To find a worthy mate, be worthy of a worthy mate." That's a dumb way to end this book. But there was a quote, there was a tweet at the end of the book that this is how he ended the book. And this is what I really like. This is what we're going to end on. Inspiration is perishable. Act on it immediately. If you're ever inspired by anything, don't delay that inspiration. Act on it immediately and follow it. Follow it until it's been exhausted. See where it takes you. That's it. That's the Almanack of Naval Ravikant, whatever his name is. A Guide to Wealth and Happiness by Eric Jorgensen. Next week, we're reading a book from an author that we're familiar with called 21 Lessons for the 21st Century by our boy, great thinker, Yuval Noah Harari. We almost reread Homo Deus by him on accident, but we didn't. And this is the latest on his. It's like, I don't know if this is how related this is to his first two books. His first one being Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind, and then Homo Deus, A Brief History of Tomorrow. This one might be up the same vein, or it might be totally different. It was published in 2018. I believe Homo Deus was published in 2015. So homie's working out here. And I'm really excited to read this one. 21 Lessons for the 21st Century. Let me tell you about the author really quickly. I like to do that to prepare you. Yuval Noah Harari has a PhD in history from the University of Oxford and now lectures at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem, specializing in world history. His two previous books, Sapiens and Homo Deus, have become global bestsellers with more than 12 million copies sold and translations in more than 45 languages. That's awesome. Well done, Yuval. I'm excited to read this one. If you want to join that conversation live, you know where to go. Go to my blog, cadencellysblog.wordpress.com. Find the YouTube, the Facebook, or the Twitch. Follow me, subscribe, whatever it is, and then turn on your notifications so that when I go live, it's always on Monday. It's almost always on Monday, I should say, but it's probably going to be Monday. In the morning-ish time, you'll get notified. You join us live. Share your thoughts. Mashed Potatoes and St. Steve's TV are almost always here, hanging out and sharing their. Usually in the past, you guys are just kind of rowdy and sharing a bunch of nonsense, but you guys have been really, really well behaved lately. Come share your thoughts. Or check out the episode on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You can search Book Club with Kate and Kelly. Or if you want the short version of anything, go to... Oh, yeah, there he goes. So you just got to mention being rambunctious, and then they start becoming rambunctious. You can check out the shorter version. Here's the Point with Kate and Kelly. Find the TikToks. I do the TikToks. I write in the blog. I got a whole bunch of information out there to help us live better lives, understand the universe, understand the meaning of life, which... there might not be any inherent or intrinsic or conclusive meaning to the universe, but that means we get to create what it is. And there's a whole lot of evidence to support how to live the best life we can, to feel the happiest, to feel the most at peace. And that's what we're doing here, baby. It's a journey. It's a journey that we're going to be on our whole lives, and they're really short lives. So we'll stick with it. Thanks for tuning in to my boys, to everyone else that's listening. I appreciate all the support and love, and also all the feedback and criticism that I receive, even though those are usually harder to deal with, but they're just as important. So next week we'll see you then with Yuval. Have a great one. Have a good day. And I said that twice, and that's okay.